Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all between the binary. This is Get Informed with Wajeeh. I'm Wajeeh Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a good one for you today. Hi, baby. You trying to get out? Okay. Let me get you out. Come here. Welcome. No, you want to go under the bed? Okay. Sorry about that. I thought my cat wanted to leave the room. Apparently, he wants to go under the bed. If you'd like to stay there, it's okay. Sorry about that. You got to take care of your babies. If you think about it, you have a lot in your life. You have job, you have friends, you have kids, you have uh, your internet community. But if you think about it, your pets, you're all they got. You're all of their world. So give them that attention. They are your babies. Unfortunately, the world I came from doesn't look like doesn't look at animals as individual beings. They either look at them as property or part of nature. And you'll see, you ready to go out now? Malcolm, you want to go out? Come here. I'll open the door for you. Let's go. Good boy. Here you go. Now he wants to get out. I let him out. So when I first came to the US, I really didn't understand respecting animals as their own individual being. But after a lot of reading books on how to raise cats, uh, yeah, his name is Malcolm. His name was that's before I met Malcolm. My cat's name was Malcolm in 2019. Yeah, before I knew there was a Malcolm Nance. So I told Malcolm the other day, he was like, I hate you. You did that on purpose. Like, no, I did not. But it's just coincidental. Uh, Someone says Black Cat Spy. Yes, the furry family is, they are part of your family. We have already questions. I have already posted a thread on my channel's chat. If you have any questions, you can go there and write the question. My doctor told me to eat early in the morning. So I'm going to take a couple bites. Yeah. We have some news for you, though. Trump was bragging about, oh, we're sending IEA inspectors to Iran. They have agreed to it. Khalas. No one has signed shit yet. Trump is like, oh, khalas, we're sending people. That's it. People are on their way. Iranians are looking around. What is he talking about? Yeah, the money's on the way. No IEA people's coming on the way. I'm not saying that that's what should happen. I'm just saying that's what's happening. Let's see if we have more questions. By the way, I want to take a minute. Thank you for everyone that has subscribed to me, whether it was free, whether you requested a premium paid membership on the house, or whether you actually paid. Today, I woke up with amazing surprise. I was looking at my account and I saw the check mark looks different. I said, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" I'm looking at the check mark, and I officially have a full orange check mark. Now that wouldn't be possible without your support. We wouldn't be here without your support. I don't know if you know, but this is my full time job, being on Substack, being your educator, giving you the latest news, finding new people that will be giving you a training, getting you the latest analysis on what's happening on the Middle East, giving you the history of Middle Eastern culture and Middle Eastern religion and how to fight extremist ideology and how to defeat cults, and also analyzing U.S. Politics from an outside lens. None of that would happen if you guys are not supporting. Your funding makes this possible. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for everyone that went out of their way to make private donations on the side to support this work or to fund and donate money in order to gift others who want a membership to get a membership on the house. I've had plenty of people who just came my way and just said we want to support others getting a premium membership, and I thank you for that. Um, and yeah, I can't be more grateful and humble for your support. I never thought I would be at this spot, but here we are. I'm sure you got this question frequently, but is there anything that you think Trump could do to actually remove him from office? I think you meant to say, is there's anything that the people or can do to remove him from office? Let me think about it for a second. So, unfortunately, it is not your law in the United States that the law in the United States does not permit the public from having a referendum or a memorandum to remove a sitting president. Should that law change? I believe it should. I think the House and the Senate needs to pass a law giving more power to the people. I don't know why, but in the United States, people look at the founding fathers as prophets or like almost like Greek gods, where they don't make mistakes. I think the founding father made a big mistake. The mistake is they did not trust people to make good decisions for their country. So they created the Electoral College, for example, and they made sure that there is several steps that prevents the people from actually intervening and remove a sitting president when all of a sudden they don't like that. And they believed that that would create more stability because the thought was the more people get to choose whenever they want to change the government, the more likely we would have to have a more in, like more instability in our government. And somewhat they are correct. But there needs to be a 50 state referendum, state by state. That is not easy to achieve. That is that's not something that you can do every day. But there needs to be an emergency button that takes a step or two to make, but by the public, not by the Senate or the House. You see, the founding father believed that the Senate and the House would have the best of the interests of the people. They never thought that they would have the best of interests of private companies and lobbies instead. As much as we talked about how the founding fathers did not foresee a White House that would be taken by someone that wants to be a dictator, we haven't talked much about how the four founding fathers didn't foresee that foreign lobbies would be taken over and private lobbies would be taken over. And they did not foresee that Mossad would be spying on our representatives and senators, state and federal, appointed or not, and they're blackmailing. And if the Mossad is doing that, I wonder what other countries are doing. So at this point, I am certain that our government is compromised. There's no way this government hasn't been compromised. So people need to have the ability to remove people in power with a referendum. But the first thing that you need to do before you reach that is change who's in power. Change who's in power. We need, I'm not saying we need more socialists, but we need people who are as cocky as Mamdani. I'm not telling you have his same ideas, but his principles of pushing the button. The reality is, I heard a comedian, Josh something, he's on the Daily Show. I saw him doing a bit, and he was talking about he's talking about Mamdani, and he gave a really good bit. Let me see if I could find it, because I'll just have him tell you instead, and then we can after that break it down and see what we think about it. How about that? If you give me a second, I appreciate your patience. I hope you saw my Piotr interview last night. We did some breaking down of how Iran is the one being dictating the the negotiations at the moment and how they are the ones that are having the upper hand. We also talked about the role of the United Nations and what it could be doing. I also published a call to action article last night or last morning. The article was specifically about Section 219 or was it 1217? Let me check. It's 219 in the House and 1217 in the Senate. Let me just triple check that. 1217 in the Senate. Good memory. These two sections are the sections that are intending to merge our military, merge our security and intelligence with the Israelis. And it would erode all the checks and balances and the sovereignty the United States would have, letting the Israelis having access to our latest weapons, our latest um, not only our latest weapons. So currently, the United States gets to choose when it wants to give Israel weapons. And they can say, well, I need you to do this and that before I give you your weapons this time. Passing this would stop all of that from happening. Israel would just take whatever weapons they want at that point. What it also does, it allows Israel to use U.S. intelligence to make a first strike on behalf of the United States or request the United States to make a first strike on behalf of Israel without any checks and balances. We would also be appointing someone that would be representing Israel inside of the Pentagon, telling the US government what to do. We don't have that with any other ally. You would be basically selling your government to Israel for free. You can't ask Congress to do any investigation. The president wouldn't be able to stop it, and it would be too late to do anything about it. So I've made you a playbook of what you need to, what it is that you're dealing with, and what it is that you need to do to defeat Section 219 and Section 1217. 219 in the House, 1217 in the Senate from passing. This cannot wait, actually. This is not something that you can say, I'll do it next week or I'll do it the week after. This is something that needs to get done within the next few 24 hours, 48 hours, and this needs to be repeated on a daily or weekly basis. Making action around this is really important because whatever we're struggling right now with Israel would be on steroids tomorrow. You are disappointed about this war. You are bothered about how Israel is taking advantage of the United States and ignoring U.S. interests and not being a good friend. Then This is something you really need to be looking into. I found the video for you guys. Here you go.
I remember work from home before the pandemic. Work from home. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. This place would fall apart as a business if we just let people work from home. There'd be no more business. Capitalism would fail if we let people work from home. And then the pandemic hits. And then out of nowhere, everybody's working from home. And a lot of places seem to be staying open. They're even making some money. And you think back to that time in like 2019 when you asked if you could work from home and they said no. And you were like, oh, so you're a liar. Guy feels like it's like politicians could have been doing this stuff the whole time. It turns out, like my daughter gets in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's just a button. You just have to press this button, and then stuff gets done." I don't know why nobody was pressing it before.
That's right.
It's not like I'm some once in a generation politician. I just saw the button and I pressed it, and the button was caring. It's like you press the do something button. If you press the care button, then something will happen. I don't know why nobody was doing this before. That's crazy. Everybody was acting like the button was in the middle of the earth. You would ask them for something that they promised you. They promised they would do this thing, and they'd be like, "Hey, look, we're gonna get the kids school lunch. All right, under my leadership, every kid's gonna have school lunch." And then they would get in the office, you'd have the party, "Yay, school lunch is coming!" And they'd be like, "You're right, school lunch is coming." And then, like 6 months into their into their term, you'd be like, "Hey, about that school lunch," and then the politician would be like, "Oh, okay. So you see, I tried, but it turns out children don't like to eat." Like you just you'd be like, "There's no way that's true. What are you talking about?"
Exactly. This is exactly what I feel like is happening with our politicians, right? We have whether Republican, Democrat, whatever it is. They promise us the moon, they promise us the sun, they promise us the earth, and we believe them and we vote for them. But then they don't do shit. Meanwhile, Mamdani got in there and he's like, "We're taxing the rich." The state of this, the governor of New York, they're like, "No, you ain't." He was like, "Watch me do it." The governor of New York go, "Please slow down, slow down. Yeah, we'll tax the rest somewhere else. Let's do it together. Let's do it together, okay?" Motherfucker showing balls. You agree with his policies or not, that's not the point. Josh Johnson makes an amazing point. Do why don't you walk walk what the road that you said that you're gonna walk? Why don't you follow on the commitment you have promised? You promised school lunch. Give us school lunch. The Democrats, every time they get in office, they prove to us that they are establishment. And I say establishment because they want to keep the status quo. They want to keep the status quo. What benefit is that for me? They're taking money from APAC. They're taking money from the Saudi government. They're taking money from the Russians. They're taking money from uh, Israel. They're taking money from private companies. They're taking money from coal companies. They're taking money from oil companies. And then what? You and I are thrown under the bus. Have you seen a city in the United States welcoming a data center? No city is asking for a data center in the United States. Yet, they're forcing it on all of us. Habibi, we said we no thank you. What happens to every time some company or someone needs to build something, they have to take permission from the neighbors? Take my permission first. Let me know if I want to have a data center next to my house or not. It's not like you're using that data center heat to do something with it. You're wasting my energy. You're not creating a data center that has renewable energy or is when it's going to use any heat. That heat is like people in Switzerland and Sweden. They do smart shit. I don't know if you've been paying attention. They have a data center. They use the data center to heat some water for the because it's a cold country to heat the whole city. Another way they do it so they don't do dumping in the waterway. They don't cause any filtration system. They study the thing before they do it. They have regulations. We're doing deregulations at the moment. Where is my safety net? Where's my why does companies get away in the United States by putting pollution and everything and we're okay with it? Giving us cancer, giving us uh, uh, other diseases I don't know about. Your hair starts falling, your genes start getting messed up, your hormones getting destroyed. Why? Because we have chemicals in everything. We allow plastic to be in everything that we use. We allow to have chemicals in our waterway. We have allowed chemicals to be in our plants. These could all be stopped by regulations. It's not impossible. But what's happening is we have lobbies, motherfuckers coming in, and instead of I don't know if you know this, but in the House and the Senate, state or federal, you have a bill that's going to pass. The bill is about how to make hamburgers. The hamburger need to have a bun, a lettuce, a tomato, an onions, two pickles, and a a piece of meat, and another pat bread. Now that goes to the floor. Oh, I don't like your bill. Okay, I know you want to pass something about your car engine, huh? Let me add something about your exhaust system to be passed in my hamburger bill. Okay, I'll vote for it. Someone else. Or if you add something about horses' hoofs, I'll vote for it. But otherwise, I won't vote for it. They add something about horses' hoof in the bill. And then someone goes, oh, well, the shoes need to have something else. And all of them is having a lobby saying something. And they're all adding something to the bill that has nothing to do with hamburgers. All of a sudden, you have a bill that has nothing to do with hamburgers or to do with everything else. And that's exactly how they're passing Section 219, Section 1217. All of a sudden, you don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know if you know that, but that's how shit happens in the United States. Anyways, so I made you a playbook about how to defeat Section 219. I will add it to the group chat. Also, my Q&A is live on my channel's chat. So if you have a second to go there, and type your question there so I don't miss your questions or comments. Please come back there and type your questions. I would really appreciate it. Meanwhile, destroy that heart button and share this live stream so more people could join us. We have about 30 minutes to another. If more questions come and more discussion come, I'm more than happy to hang out. And then we'll have another episode with Professor Piotr later today. I'm just giving you a heads up. We'll be talking about the Iran deal, but at some point I'm gonna need to take a nap and then catch up on stuff. But we did have an interview with Piotr yesterday. I'll let you guys know what time. I'm still figuring that out with him. See if he texted me. I'll text him. Maybe he would come now. We'll see. Arabs are so spontaneous, by the way. We love to go on the spot for some reason. Someone said, "Gee, could you talk a little bit about relationship alliances, rivalries among Middle Eastern countries: Iran, Egypt, Kuwait, UAE, Lebanon, Syria?" I realize this could be a very thick book. It is a very thick book. Those alliances, like Bruce Lee say, like water, moves around all the time. It changes shapes day by day, month by month, year by year. But there are some of them that are essentially almost concrete. There are other ones that are constantly shifting, depending on who's in power and depending on, yeah, depending on who's in power and when. Like 2 years ago, Saudi Arabia, and 3 years ago, Saudi Arabia and Syria were enemies. Now that the former ISIS general leader now became the president of Syria, now Saudi Arabia and Syria are friends. Same thing. Syria and the United States used to be not on good terms. Now, Syria and the United States under Trump are in very good terms. Um, Lebanon is a very complicated, messy story. Because it is divided into three sections, each part of the world has a hand in Lebanon. Saudi Arabia is allied with the Sunnis, Iranians allied with the Shi'is, and the Western world allied with the Christian groups. Libya is also a complicated story. Tunisia is a complicated story. Egypt is way simpler now. Egypt mostly focuses on its economy. They are having a decayed economy for the last 2 decades. People have been facing more and more stagflation, and they are barely making ends meet, from prices going up on eggs and essential goods to to all of the essential goods, whether it was chicken, whether it was meat, whether it was vegetables, whether it fruits. Everything is going up in Egypt, and the working basic class is struggling. These people are very resilient. They're fighting anything and everything to do. A large part of the Egyptian population works abroad, whether it's in the United States or Western countries or the Gulf states. and they send back money back home for their families, but that's not the case always. There are some families that just live abroad and go back there for vacation. But mostly Egypt is currently focused on its economy. They do some, they were helping in the past with the Palestinian, the Gaza peace talk with Israel, but they proved that they weren't so good at it, even though that they have a lot of experience doing so. But when you have a country that is not meeting its basic needs, it really hard for that country to show any enforcement. Egypt is also having conflict with Ethiopia. Ethiopia is building the dam. Is it right? Ethiopia, Egypt water dam. Yes, the Ethiopian dam on the Nile River that funds most of Egypt waterway and all of the water that Egypt needs. Now that will be disrupted because of the Ethiopian dam. Egypt has threatened to go to war over that dam, so there is a lot of conflict over that issue. And this is something that will sneak up on you at some point in the next 5 years. Meanwhile, Egypt and Gulf states keep a professional transactional relationship where Gulf states intend to give Egypt in exchange of some sort of favors, usually. And Egypt, since they need that funding, they are more than happy to do that. Saudi Arabia bought a couple islands off of the Red Sea from Egypt. Just to give you an idea, and Egypt sold it to them for a couple $1 billion. To give you a little perspective on that type of transactional relationship. Gulf states right now are mostly doing okay, but they have their own high school drama. But Saudi Arabia and the UAE right now are in the most biggest conflict where they are quite indifferent regarding Israel, where UAE has been very blunt and open about its Abrahamic Accord and very supportive of it. And they believe that UAE's behavior brought more attacks from the Iranians onto the Gulf states, showing some disappointment. Um, and there is a lot of pressure from the public on the royal families that they're not okay with the UAE being so close to Israel. You have the Saudis a little bit disappointed with the Omanis for being the Switzerland of the Arab world, not being involved in any conflict, and blaming them for being hit by the Iranians for not taking a side. But in reality, I believe that Iranians didn't hit more of Oman specifically because they didn't take a side. And they did get maybe hit a few times. You can count them with your fingers versus the hundreds and thousands of times, not hundreds and thousands, hundreds times at some states and thousands of times in other states by Iran. Huge difference. So I think that tells you a thing or two about what's happening. Yemen and Saudi Arabia is in a complicated relationship. Saudi Arabia has been in a war with the Yemeni people for more than 10 years at the moment. And they got their ass kicked over there. Iraq and Iran are very close to each other because Iraq has a majority of Shia population, and also Iraq depend on U.S. Funding, so they have to have balance between being so close to Iran and uh, giving enough space for the U.S. to be okay with funding. So, like when the United States was upset recently with the Iraqis, regarding Trump, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to give you any funding." Within a week or so, 2 weeks, the Iraqis have a new president. They elected a new president. 'Need to be patience. You got to have your breakfast, even if you're working. I hope that answers your question for now. Maybe that's an article I should write. Um, it's been over an hour, and I'm going to wait for YouTube. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Goodbye. I don't know where you went, NJ, but thank you for writing that comment. Looking forward to seeing you on YouTube. Do you think that Saudi Arabia or the Middle Eastern desert what architecture and construction technique will be used in other nations more in the future as the planet gets hotter? So, Saudis back in the day, they used to build houses from mud. Now, because after we discovered petroleum and other minerals in our nation, we use mostly concrete. In fact, concrete for us is cheaper than wood. Most houses take years to build instead of months to build in Arabia because they're all made out of mud. I recently saw a company that does, I forgot what it looks like, block cubes that you can put with each other. I really like the idea. They can withstand fire and they can withstand other stuff, and they keep the house very cool. There are really nice technologies coming out there, and we'll take it day by day. But building houses from mud is a way to keep the house cool. Um, Having natural ways to cool the house is really important. Using water and air is also a very good way of cooling. But by the end of the day, I don't know if you know, but the more ACs we have, the more machines that are producing heat, that does contribute to the heat of the city. Like those ACs are giving you some cool air in the house or really nice cool air in the house, but they're also adding a lot of heat to your city. Just FYI. Like, I know that because even Saudi Arabia is becoming hotter than before. The Middle East is also becoming hotter than before. Saudi Arabia is doing seeding. Like, they're seeding the skies so they can get more rain in Arabia. I'm not encouraging seeding. I'm just saying what they're doing. This is not an endorsement from Wajeeh, okay? Do Lebanese always look down on Syrians? I don't know about that, but I could see it. I'm not that familiar with looking down on the Syrians, but a lot of looking down on the Syrians happened after they became refugees and had a failed state. a lot of people started looking down on them, even though a majority of these people that left their countries are engineers, doctors, professors, um, and educators. They're not like stupid people, right? But yet, when they went anywhere because they were refugees, they were looked down upon. I had the same treatment. Even though I went to high school in the U.S. and I went to college in the U.S., when I was applying for asylum, I was being looked down at. So it's just I feel like it's part of what Piotr says later tonight. So maybe like let's say 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock my timing. Maybe no, that may be too late for him. We'll see. I'll get back to you with Piotr. I'm also not finding any. Oh, here you go. New questions. Any chance you'll be doing a pod with Jacob? It's a real conversation, calm and informative. I'll talk to him and see if he'd like to do one. I wouldn't mind doing one with Jacob. He's a chill guy. I was talking to him earlier to see if he would hook me up with Dean because I think Dean has been too busy and has missed my messages. So maybe if I can have Jacob give him a nudge, he'll respond or something. Any chance? Oh yeah, I already answered. The geopolitical alignment matrix you made in May was very helpful. I bookmark it. Mind sending my article to me? I would appreciate it. It is still up to date, I would say. So I would share that again. Yeah, that's it. I was thinking I wrote something about that. So if you'd send that to me, I could share again, or if you could share it, I can look for it or something. Just wanted to share. I am going to a city council meeting tonight in California, 15 minutes from my house, to speak against a proposal for an ice facility. Uh, Proud of you. Good job. That's nice. People are stepping up. They're doing something. ICE is building more facilities for some reason, and it's not like we need them. I'm mostly disappointed in the people who are betraying their own people. But I think we need to understand that these people are getting entry level $100,000. I think for some people, they're willing to sell their values for a certain amount of money. And when an entry level job is 90,000, $100,000, and that means you don't even have to have, any expertise in anything. Because they couldn't find anyone, all of a sudden you have people betraying their own family. Nice. Wajeeh, do Shia and Sunni use a practice with the same Quran? Yes and no. It is the same Quran, but with different writing. I don't know how to explain it to you. The Quran is written. So here's what you need to know. Muslims say the Quran never changed from the day it was revealed to the Prophet to our day. There has been no changes to the Quran. This is what Muslims claim. So let me explain to you a thing or two. There is technically no Shi'i or Sunni Quran. But about what type of Qur'an's out there is a different conversation. There is what they call qira'at, recitation styles. Now, Muslims claim that these recitations do not make a difference in the meaning of the Quran literature. But if you ask critics, they would say otherwise. They would say, no, after comparison, it looks like the meanings does change when you change the type of recitation. So they say there is about كم قراءة من قراءات القرآن موجودة. So they say that currently there is 10 different types of قراءات. There's قراءة نافع المدني. There's قراءة ابن كثير المكي. There's قراءة عمرو البصري. قراءة ابن عامر الشامي. قراءة عاصم الكوفي. قراءة حمزة الكوفي. قراءة الكسائي الكوفي. قراءة أبو جعفر المدني. قراءة يعقوب الحضرمي. عن قراءة خلف البزار. 10 different قراءات. Now there used to be more. قبل جمع القرآن كم نسخة كانت موجودة؟ قبل جمع القرآن كم نسخة من القرآن كانت موجودة مختلفة؟ So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So technically they they describe it as it wasn't a different Quran. It was the same Quran, but there was 6 companions of the Prophet that all had their own version of the same exact Quran. And it was in the time of Khalifa Uthman bin Affan, one of the Prophet companions, became the leader of the Islamic nation. He decided to collect all these Qurans and make a one version of it so there wouldn't be more interpretations and more misunderstandings of the Quran. And before these books became books, you have to understand how the Quran came about. The Quran didn't come to Prophet Muhammad all at once. The Quran would come to the Prophet incrementally depending on the history, depending on the situation, depending on when Gabriel comes down from heaven and recite to him the Quran. So without Jibril, there is no revelations. And Jibril would come to Muhammad according to Muhammad himself, and Jibril would be the one giving him these chapters. Now, this is an interesting thing. When you have the Quran coming incrementally, it wasn't written by a person or two. What ended up happening is the companions had to memorize it. And then at some point decide that they will bring a leather page because they didn't have easy access to paper. So they used to write on wood and paper. And they would write small sections separately on these leather or wooden documents. And they were never all in one book right away. And it was until the Prophet passed away that individual companions of the Prophet decided to write what they memorize, collect what they have, and create the Quran. So, has the Quran changed? In my scientific interpretation, yes. Has it stayed the same? No. Arabic did not have any dots, did not have tashkil, did not have vowels on them written beforehand. They were written without dots, without vowels on them. And because Arabs were so well trained and so fluent in old Arabic, they didn't need much of that to understand what they were reading. Now, because Arabic has spread across the world, they had to add dots, they had to add vowels to let people know how to exactly enunciate the Quran. Like when I recite, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. I had to enunciate a certain type of vowels and sing it while I recite the Quran. I can't just say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. That's not considered a good recitation. You have to enunciate Arabic. You have to take your time to pronounce the whole thing. And without enunciating it correctly, some Muslims believe your prayer is not accepted unless you're like a Westerner and that's all you can do. Like you don't have the ability to enunciate. God understands your intention according to Islamic Sharia and would accept your effort of enunciating it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good question, though. Is there any other question? For some reason, I'm not seeing your comments on here. I'm not even seeing how many people is in the chat. Anyways, I actually have a meeting I need to get to. Um, it's in 30 minutes and it's on the phone. I don't need to hurry up. Okay. If you guys don't mind taking a minute to go to my group chat to write your questions, I would appreciate it. I'm not having uh, That would be we would be having so regarding my Piotr interview would be at 10 UK time evening, and it would be 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. No, 5 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Western US time. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions. If there isn't, we'll end this space and we'll see you tomorrow, which is no big deal. Again, thank you so much for everyone that's tuned in. I appreciate your support, appreciate your help. I'm literally not able to see any of your comments at the moment in the live stream. Every once in a while I have those glitches from Substack. It's disappointing. Um, have you guys noticed a lot of accounts on Substack, they say they cover international news, but when I go into their profile, they're only covering US news for some reason. What's going on here? Hmm? It's okay. It's okay. No big deal. Again, let's see if I got that message from that viewer. No. I'll look for that article that I wrote regarding the Middle Eastern alliances and who's allied with who. In the meantime, keep an eye on my tweet and posts. I might take a quick nap now and then go back to working on my stuff. But uh, we'll be back. I'll be writing you an article or two today, and we'll be covering the news up to date. I'm trying to make a balance between how much I post rather than just bombarding you guys all the time. So I'm trying to be a little bit more strategic about what I post and when I'm posting. I also changed the setting so you guys are not receiving so many emails. Apparently, for some reason, the system was sending individual emails rather than like grouping a whole bunch of things in one email. Now you should be receiving less emails. That was not my intent. That wasn't intent to be bothering you guys or anything. And then I don't know if you know, but there is a way without unsubscribing, you can change the setting of the type of notifications you want to receive from me. Without unsubscribing, you can go into the setting management of notifications and you can choose the type of notification you want to receive from me without having to unsubscribe. Anyways, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching a recording. Thank you so much for your support there. Write a comment, join our community on Substack. We have a good community. We are doing a episode tomorrow with This Will Hold regarding the US stolen election of 2024. So keep an eye open for that. We're doing good collaborations. We're meeting with nice people and we're covering the issues that actually matter. So if you can consider becoming a subscriber today, I would really appreciate it. If you can become a paid subscriber, I actually dropped the price of the yearly subscription to $30 a year and made sure that to keep it at 50 and $5 a month. I also made sure to change the setting where they don't charge you different prices if you're on different platform. Apparently that's a thing. So I made sure that they're not charging extra or anything for that to be on a different platform. So don't worry about that setting. It's no longer there. I've been making sure to switch up things to make it a little bit easier. Now, if you cannot afford to become a paid subscriber, that's not a big deal. just reach out to me and let me know that you would like to have a paid subscription on the house. We have very generous people that have been donating money specifically for that to be gifted away. So don't be shy. Don't feel like you're putting any weight on the channel or putting any weight on me. No, it's a privilege to have you guys a part of this channel. It's a privilege to have you guys have a membership. And we want to make sure that you have access to our information. We don't want to cut anyone out. The only reason that we have a paywall is for those who want to support us financially to have the ability to fund our project, specifically that we do this full time. And this is our full time job. So much, much appreciated. Like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I like to say, مع السلامة, bye bye. بالإنجليزي, goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.